Hey, tomorrow together.
Sun City is ensconced in a prehistoric crater surrounded by the Pilanesberg, and its charms are plentiful if you're on holiday or on a golf vacation, but not so if you have to face 400 dusty, dry, tough and uncompromising kilometers. Hello, I'm Arnold Getz.
And I'm Roald Woods, and this is round 5 of the 2008 ABSA Off-Road Championships here at the majestic City in the Sun.
And all of the off-road scene's royalty had gathered here to fight for the national crowns in 6 classes.
Most of which were far from settled or concluded, it must be said.
But just before the wheels really got rolling, there was a lot of last-minute preparation going on in the car park at the gambling resort.
And the teams knew that this was no time to gamble. They had to get things spot on right before the prologue, as the Nissan squad had clinched 3 of the first 4 wins on offer in the production car class.
Reigning champion Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford were 16 points to the better and hoping to grow that margin.
We caught up with Neil Woolridge's navigator, Kenny Schulthammer. Kenny, super season so far, just no win. Ready for one now?
No, we need to gather more points. We'd obviously like to get a win now. We've still got, I think, maybe one more race with these tyres, so we'll just have to complete a little bit conservative in the rocks. But no, the car is fantastic. We've made a few improvements, and we're looking forward to it.
Now, how often have you done the race here at Sun City? I mean, it's been a few, hasn't it? Do you keep count?
Oh, I don't count. How old are you? No, we've done it quite a few times. We've enjoyed it. We've had good success. It's good terrain, hard, difficult stuff, a bit technical in places, but very high speed.
Pundits say that this is one of the toughest, if not the toughest. What do you say to that?
I don't know, they're all getting tough, you know. It's as tough as the competition is, and, you know, we've been fortunate that the cars stay together, so we've had a good run at Sun City itself. It's very nice terrain, very mountainous, rocky. But like I said, the high-speed stuff is there as well, and a lot of unnatural terrain with all the mining going on, so there's a lot of unnatural stuff, so you've got to watch where you are.
Always a good thought to have in mind when you're taking on the Northwest Province's terrain. Toyota's new man, Anthony Taylor, was on the other side of the spectrum.
It's first time for me here at Sun City, so I don't know what to expect. I've just heard a lot of stories about the place, that it's a very nice event, a lot of rock, a lot of trees, quite hard ground. So yeah, fortunately the place where we normally go testing has got fairly hard ground, which is quite nice. I'm used to how the Bucky responds on hard ground. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite a good event for us. Yeah, once again, you know, I think we have been doing a bit of testing, Mark and that, and also Mark having come off his win at in PE with the rally car. I think it's just given the whole team a lot of confidence for the weekend.
The performances of the Toyotas on the rally and off-road circuit must have been a great mental and physical fillip for the whole team.
Yeah, it certainly has. You know, everyone's on a high, the team's working very well together, you know, everyone from Castrol to Oda. So I think the hype is there, and let's just hope for a very good result.
In the second Sasol Nissan Navara car, Hannes Grobler certainly needed a result too.
We've got a very good chance to do well on this event. We're going to try for a win. Yeah, we had bad luck for 3-4 events now in a row. I think that's going to change, and I'm very happy with the car at the moment, and I'm sure we're going to be there and give a few guys a surprise.
When you've been winless for a while, such as this, what do? Is it a mental hurdle for you?
Yeah, you definitely have to keep your head, you know. It could become difficult for yourself if you make it difficult for yourself, you know, by thinking that everything is going to go wrong in the future as well. But yeah, we think we're going to do well, and I definitely think we're going to win this one.
Hannes, how does the terrain differ in this one here at Sun City from the other races?
The terrain on this one is quite rough. It doesn't look from the outside that it's so rough, but there's lots of rocky sections, and then there's dongas. And the biggest problem is where you go through the veld. They've cut the trees off, and there's little tree stumps down the bottom, so you can't drive too fast and too sideways in the veld, and you must just keep your head and yeah, just keep it on the road.
Well, whatever road there is out there, at least Roakon's Oki 3 had been taking a sabbatical, but he was ready to do battle again.
Yeah, Rory, it's been a while since the end of last year, but I'm looking forward to it. Sun City always a nice event, nice and rough and challenging, so new drivers, so we're looking forward to it, yeah.
And how come you're back in the action?
I think Sharon's got some personal commitments, so George asked me to stand in for him, and that's going to be good fun. Yeah, looking forward to it.
And it's also going to be your second time in an SP class car.
Rory, second time. I did the event with Bevan in the roof last year before last. Yeah, it's quite a bit different from mid-class E, a bit faster and also a bit more comfortable, so it's going to be nice, yeah.
We assume you'll miss your old partner, Brian Martin.
Yeah, we had good fun with Brian, always some good moments in the car. Yeah, but I think I'll get along with George well, and let's hope for the best. Most definitely, we'll try our best, and let's hope the experience comes in and helps us through as well.
In the special vehicle category, the father and son team of Cully and Quinton Silvalt were just 9 points ahead of former champion Terence Marsh and Peter Groenewald, while the rest of the chasers were all well within striking distance.
Were the Silvalts surprised by their good form this season? We wanted to know.
No, not really. I think we've stuck to what we set out to do in the beginning of the year. We're not going to change anything now that we're leading. I think we should just keep on doing what we've been doing, and at the end of the year we'll see where we are.
You unveiled the new bat last time out. Are the teething problems over with it?
I hope so. Bat Racing has done an unbelievable job in preparing the car for us. They've really helped us a lot in preparation and setup and things. So I believe that the car's ready now, and I think we're going to give it a full go.
In the Regent Racing enclosure, Michael Whitehouse could not get his nose out of the books. It's been tough to change from calling to driving.
It has, because I've been backing to get out of the navigation seat, so I'm always looking at what's going on in the notes and instead of focusing on the driving, and I'm sure we lose time. But I love navigating, but the driving just is a whole new dimension, which is exciting.
There's also a bit of an adrenaline rush.
Absolutely. You know, it's a bit out of my depth beginning of last year, but now we're coming into our own and we've had consistent results. So I want to build on that for the next 4 races.
In this sport, consistency is obviously one of the keys.
Yeah, in off-road racing, that consistent approach, I mean, it's proved itself just, you know, being a little puckman, collecting the points in that regard. But, you know, there's intensity that you can sustain, I think, is the key element.
Well, we all knew that the intensity would certainly be at Sun City. And it was, as round 5 got underway with a prologue over 70 long and testing kilometers.
Grobler and his young co-driver Jean Moore were soon off and running quickly as they sped out on the opening stage, which would secure a starting spot in the next day's lineup.
First in is first out, and thus a quick time secures you a dust-free ride.
Clearly, the 3-time champion and evergreen veteran was desperate to get pole position, and he led through the early time checks.
Port Elizabeth winners Mark Crenier and Chris Birkin were also quick and effective in Sun City's dust and were just a few seconds off the flying Nissan's pace.
This duo are also going well in Class S2000 in the National Rally Championship Series and are doing a great job of defending their hard-won title from 2007.
Woolridge and Schulthammer in the Ford Ranger were only 30-odd seconds behind the flying red, green and white car in the time trial, and the Peter Maritzburg-based men were happy with their charge and its performance.
The special production vehicle dominated the top 6 in the prologue, and father and son Higo and Jaap de Bruin in the Mecca and Excel dealer team colours were also putting together a very solid opening drive.
They've been slightly inconsistent this season and needed to up their game.
And it looked like they got it right this time.
The third Nissan in the very capable hands of Norwegian adventurer Ivar Tollefsen, with his British co-driver Quinn Evans beside him, went aerial and fast as they slotted into 5th place, just 4 seconds behind the De Bruins.
And in 7th, it was the silver and black of motorriders Alfie Cox and Henita Steger scuttled into view. They'd also not been as quick as they wanted to be and were working hard at getting the balance right.
Speed and conservation of the car in equal parts.
In only their second off-road event in their new car, Mike Thompson and Brian Haviland were flying along. The Feltex Imperial Hilux sounded superb as it passed our vantage point.
The second four, featuring Mark Ferguson and Craig West, were going well, but lost their way for a bit.
With the leading Class D car of that of Rhobi Nissan's Henry and Maurice Matten, who was second on the point log after 2 finishes and 2 DNFs.
Anthony Taylor and his co-Robin Houghton were in the walls a little. They had a flat and then stopped after a noise from the back of the car drew their attention, only to find that it was a loose jack, so they lost valuable time.
Second in Class D, it was the log leaders Gutsiela Beskachny and Johan Gerber. They were 2 minutes and 41 seconds behind the Zermattens.
While Class E leader Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro, the defending national champions, took the low road when they should have taken the high road.
Still, they got through okay enough.
But they were being chased all the way by Dion Fenter and Ian Palmer in their Class E 4x4 Mega World entry. They clocked exactly the same time as the Ford Geo in front of them. The race proper would be a showdown of note.
With Baden tyres as Thomas Rundle and Rob Howie, who were acquitting themselves well early on, but they stalled it here and subsequently lost a lot of time too.
But Grobler certainly did not lose any. He and Moore in the Nissan got an 18-second win over Cronje and Burke.
Taylor and Houghton rounded out the top 10.
The big Atlas Kopko of Gary Berthold and Andre Vermeulen led the special vehicle entries off the start line for their 70-kilometer prologue jaunt.
Their stablemate Nick Harper with son Ryan riding shotgun certainly shot out of the gate and clocked the fastest time for the so-called space frame cars, a flying 62 minutes and 16 seconds, putting pressure on all the other specials.
Of those contenders, the focus was sharply on co-driver turned pilot Michael Whitehouse and his bookman Matthew Carlson in the Regent Racing Bat Spec 1.
While championship leaders, the Stalwarts, were third, but just 24 seconds behind the Regent outfit's leading car and less than half a second behind the leaders.
Collie and Quinton had in the last 2 years become very consistent performers, and Sun City was a happy hunting ground for the father and son team.
Defending champion Evan Hutchinson and his navigator Him Bergman were in turn just 3 seconds further back, chasing for all they were worth in the Motorrad Racing Bat Spec 3.
With Herman Sulveld and Paul Helberg in their Zarko Magnum also just 3 seconds further back, but pushing for all they were worth despite missing reverse gear.
In Class P, the prologue pace setters were brothers Johan and Etienne Besaidenout in their Adenko Bat.
With Clint Gibson and Gary Campbell 6th in Class A in the Team Gibson Racing Bat, just more than a minute behind.
The severity of the prologue route was just a foretaste of what was to come.
Clearly, Saturday's almost 400k ride would be a jawbreaker.
Second in Class B, it was siblings David and Gary White in the all-blue Rokon off-road racing bat.
While Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the First Century Property Development Bat were 7th in Class A, but only 92 seconds off the pace.
Botswana winner Shamir Varayawa and his navigator Siegfried Rousseau had been very consistent all season long, and with a win under their belts, they were brimming with confidence.
But in Class B, the same could not be said for the Keymax property entry of Jan Kraai and Tito Voigt. They had had a patchy season after Jan won the national title last year, and they needed a good showing here.
It was the Harpers who led all of the 51 specials home. Saturday's racing was due to be a humdinger.
Less than 2 minutes separated the top 12 cars in the category. The gloves were off.
We continue right after this.
Vehicle and asset finance.